How do you say your last name?
So it's Barr. Yeah, it's Dred Barr. It's
Dred Barr.
kind of a crazy name.
Yeah.
Is that your real first name?
Yes, sir. It's yeah. So it's actually a family name. I'm the third. My son's the fourth.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool though.
And then is it Los Campeones? Los Campeones.
So Los Campeones is where I'm at now. Yeah, I really like it there. I just started, and to be honest with you, I kind of went there whenever they just had the South location, and nothing against I guess like that area, but it just seemed like it was like a little bit of a chiller, slower area, like vibe there. You know what I mean? So I really didn't like. I wouldn't say I didn't like it, but. Yeah. I didn't think I could train there. But so I checked out the North location, and it's awesome.
It's sick. Yeah.
They have like all that new equipment.
Yeah. I train mostly like just like beginners and women, and I'm in like a little private spot. It doesn't have a lot of stuff, but it's chill. And I was looking for a gym nearby, and that spot's okay. But when the North one opened up and I checked it out, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's
every toy you could ever think of.
Yeah, I knew it was good when I got a tour there the first time, and the guy giving me the tour goes, "This is the first leg room."
Yeah,
like, no, second leg
that's
room.
What they told me when they were giving me the tour. They was like, "Man, welcome to Narnia." You know, like there's a different room. Like once you look up, there's another room, and I was like. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. It was a little bit overwhelming. I still haven't discovered all the machines there yet, to be honest with you.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah. It's definitely like somebody just went haywire and just went, hey, yeah. I want this. It's
a gym bros playground.
Oh yeah, it definitely is, and that's I'm having fun with my training again myself.
Yeah, I think that's a key when you've been training a long time. It's like I just want to change things up.
Dude, to be honest with you, that's what the main thing about all this was I just started getting comfortable. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was just like I've been at the same place. Like I wouldn't say the main trainer, but you know what I mean? Like I'm like the one who, I would say like most people come to. And I have a lot of experience. And I have a lot of experience in different backgrounds. So a lot of people would come to me and like I would say like I really didn't like go out and like have to make myself like grow. Yeah. So this is definitely making, like pushing myself to grow and, make me uncomfortable a little bit.
Can you go over a little bit of your journey of lifting?
So yeah, so basically I'm a gym bro, right? So I started how everybody else started. I started when lifting weights when I was in off-season football, I did start early though. I was like 12 or 13.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so my uncle kind of lifted weights. He was like a pretty boy, you know what I mean? Wanted the abs, so like I seen the whole bodybuilding stuff, like him drinking the shakes, like eating the chicken and I seen all that, but I really didn't understand it. It's kind of cool how that I feel like that probably like played a big foundation in it, and I didn't even know it at the time. Looking back now, but yeah, so basically I worked out to get better at football. Everybody did that, you know what I mean, or at least we did it, So that led into. I'm really strong naturally. You know what I mean? I was like, I ain't gonna lie to you, whenever I was a freshman, I was like putting up like 225 for reps, you know what I mean? Which is kind of crazy for them. And then I actually was in the, like for power cleaning stuff like that, I was in the top 10 for the varsity as a freshman. So like that just gives you an idea like that. So that led into powerlifting. So I did a couple little meets when I was like in school, for the school. I liked it. I ain't gonna lie to you, but my main focus was football, so I really didn't get into it like hardcore.
You're just strong, so you're just like, I'll just jump.
Yeah, so I just dabbled. You know what I mean? And then basically, long story short, my football career kind of got ended. I'm short, so I wasn't gonna go like play anywhere big. But I did go to Hardin-Simmons, you know what I mean? I was going to get lined up to do that or whatever. I ain't going to lie to you. I was from Dallas. So, like, moving to Abilene.
It's a big change.
Being a backup, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I was looking for any excuse. And then once my girlfriend at the time, she told me she was pregnant. So I was like, wow, like, get me home. I need to go work. You know what I mean? So I actually got certified right out of high school.
Wow.
So after football, got certified. It was 2011. You know what I mean? I got my first training gig in I guess it was March 2011, and that was for LA Fitness. I worked there for about, I want to say 4 years for my first little stunt. Then I went independent for a little bit. During that time, I started my bodybuilding career. So 2013, I actually started bodybuilding. I got approached by Bob Johnson, which is the GBO, like, I guess he's the president now. It was funny stories because like he came up to me and was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about bodybuilding?" I was like, "No, you'd never catch me wearing that little thing. Like, I'd never wear that little underwear."
Getting a fake
thing.
tan, wearing a little Speedo.
Yeah,
no
no
way.
you're catching me on a Speedo. You know what I mean?
He's the president of
GBO, so Global Bodybuilding Organization.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a little bit smaller than NPC and stuff like that, but it's pretty cool. You know, it gives another outlet for people to compete. So yeah, so it was like he was very old school, you know what I mean? So I did the whole old school, you know, like bodybuilding journey that way. And then so yeah, I went independent a little bit shorter after that. And then it's kind of funny because I never really wanted to coach. My friend at the time was like helping one of his friends get ready for a show. And my knowledge, knowing me, you know, I was a trainer. So like whenever I did the training thing, I jumped all in, you know, I studied. Back then, like training wasn't so easy. You can't just take a course. So I had to actually take a class, like it was 3 days, you know, 2 days in person, 1 day test. So like, you know, like I was freaking out about that. So like I studied, you know, beyond studied for everything. That was ISSA, I think, at the time. They really made you like, you know, I guess they like dictated the, you know, who was, you know, certified through them. So yeah, and then basically, I'm sorry, I lost track of thought.
No, you're good. So you got into bodybuilding, like how?
So shortly after, yeah, so 3 years in the training, which I think was really good for me because basically I wasn't a bodybuilder that just jumped into like, oh, I'm going to be a trainer now. You know what I mean? That's what you see, like no talking down a lot of people these days, but that's what seems like everybody does one show and they're like some expert about bodybuilding.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why like I feel like I have a good background and I have a good understanding just because I studied all that. My journey started off as weight loss. Like I got fat whenever my girlfriend was pregnant with my son, and I was like 240, which in reference, I'm 240 now, but I was 240 then, like with a gut.
It's a very different type of 240.
Dude, and like what happened was I was chasing my dog down the street or whatever, and you know, my son was like we're basically on a walk, you know what I mean? I was like, dude, I am out of shape. This is horrible. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, I had to make a change, you know what I mean? So I went to the weight loss journey and I couldn't figure out how to lose weight on my own. So I had to find out on my own. So I was like, dude, if this is this hard for me to find a knowledge, I'm sure like I can make a living out of this. You know what I mean? My uncle told me one thing. He was like, you have to find something that people are always going to need. And you know, that's how you make your living. You know what I mean? So yeah. But yeah, anyways, I got into coaching, didn't expect to get into it. Like I said, like I helped my friend out. And then I was really good at it. Just because I guess the whole nutrition side that, you know, me learn how to lose weight, you know, I had a good understanding. And then doing 2 shows after that, which I did really well in my first 2 shows, you know.
Where'd you place?
So the first one I placed second. First, my best friend beat me.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So we trained together.
Yeah.
Like, he beat me.
Yeah, that's like.
Which he's a pro now. You know, he turned pro like 2015.
You want to shout him out or?
Yeah, Brandon Richards. Lifetime friend. He actually went to high school with me. We had some of the craziest training sessions.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude. Like,
what were crazy about him?
So we were like pretty much the same strength. So like it was like going at it. So like, which is crazy because my legs are bigger, but he was stronger with legs and like biceps, right? My back and my chest was, you know, really strong, you know, so he would get frustrated at that, you know, I would get frustrated at the legs, you know what I mean? So, but we would basically go to war at it with each other. I mean, like,
awesome.
That's how I got big. Everybody wants to know how I got big. Like, you know what I mean? It was literally, I picked a friend that was pretty close to me in strength. And when whoever went first, we got the least amount of reps. Let's just put it that way.
What do you think?
You know what I mean?
Do you think having a training partner is crucial? Like if you're going to be competing or something, like what's the importance of having a training partner?
So I go back and forth with this all the time. Like people actually somebody just asked me because I'm training by myself right now. And I've been training with somebody for like 2 years, you know what I mean? So it is different, but like I really think that I would say both, you know what I mean? It just depends on where you're at in your training. To get big and to like push yourself beyond the limits, you definitely need somebody, you know what I mean? If it's not a trainer, it's a training partner. Now there's some stuff you can do by yourself, you know what I mean, that like is kind of outside of the textbook. You know what I mean? Like I would say like when I do tricep push downs, just for instance, like I can't do what I do with somebody else. You know, I have to wait for them or something like that. I can go totally off of feel, off of me. You know what I mean? I can do a whole bunch, wait till I'm ready. I can lower the weight down and then do a bunch more and then like, you know, see how I feel from there and then maybe punch out some more. It just depends, you know what I mean? But if I'm waiting with somebody, I kind of have to cater to them too. And also like sometimes you get distracted, right? You start talking, you know, that happens a lot, you know what I mean? So yeah, I would say like it just depends. First and foremost is always like what you put into it. You have to like I always say like you have to snap your mind into training. You can't just go in here like stays cool. You know, you actually if you see the best of the best when they go to their job and they're doing something physical, like you have to take it serious. You know what I mean? So as long as you take it serious for like what 45 minutes, 30 minutes, you know what I mean? Like you can get in and get
just go to war for 45 minutes and then
that's what people
continue with your day.
Understand.
Yeah, I see a lot of guys at the gym. They're just there's like 3 dudes and they're in their 20s and they're just all of them are on their phones and they're just kind of rotating out. I don't really see anybody just annihilating the weights.
Yeah.
And then like to go to failure, right? Like they don't, you like, I don't know. It's just a whole thing.
I think that's one of the benefits. Like, you know, I'm a trainer working under guys that have a ton of experience. They just open your eyes to new levels of intensity.
For sure.
And no matter what you read or program, doing it on your own, even if you have a great training partner, you need someone way ahead of you to just put you through it.
That's how I literally learned everything. I always played stupid. You know what I mean? I'd go up to somebody who, I'll be straight up, like I'll be a bro. I went up to the dude with the biggest arms. I was like, how did you get your arms that big? Like I remember specifically asking somebody that. The dude had just had freaky arms. You know what I mean? Like literally he was a decent guy, but like he had like bodybuilding type like freaky. I'm talking about like his tricep was sticking outside of his arm. You know what I mean? It was pretty crazy stuff.
You know, like on a quad basically on his arm.
Dude, yeah, it was insane. And literally he was like, yeah, I really train my arms all the time. You know what I mean? He was like, it took me 10 years to grow my arms this big. And at the time I was like, excuse me, I was like, there's no way. You know what I mean? Now looking back, it took me 10 years to grow my arms this big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're at 2023. You know what I mean? I've been trying since, or 2024, I'm sorry, but I've been trying since 2013. So it's 11 years later. You know what I mean? I finally have, not to me, you know, we're always never happy. So I don't have big enough arms. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's always the pursuit of more. What do you think of guys that are, you know, they're lifting or they're just getting into lifting and they're trying to get big in general to begin? Where do you think some of their pitfalls or downfalls are with their training?
I would say not training hard enough, what we were just talking about, right? So like the whole mindset part and then the eating, of course, but I mean, that's a whole different topic, right? But if you want to like talk about where you're limited, like on growth, like is to, so I mean, y'all know this, but normal people don't. It's like it's adaptation, right? So like if we're just doing something that's easy, there's no change. You literally have to beat the shit out of them. You know what I mean? You literally have to beat it down until there's nothing there, and it has to build up and make it better so you can perform better. So
do you take new guys that, because you trained since you were 12, so you had like an incredible strength base, right?
Yeah.
Playing football. I feel like there's a lot of guys that just don't actually have a lot of strength.
Dude, I have started training people that can barely do a push-up.
Yeah.
And that is more common than you would expect. Wow. Yeah, it is actually mind-blowing when you think about it, but it's literally kind of cool to see it go from doing the bar, you know, to wiggling and waggling and, you know, and all of a sudden you're doing 135. 185.
And that's life changing when you take someone who can't do anything.
And it only takes like a year or something. That's what's wild, It's literally just like tapping into what we already have.
I feel like at a baseline, humans, like the strength is there, but if you've never done it, you don't know. Your body just, it's so foreign to you. You're like,
I mean, a lot of it is genetic based. Like shout out to my son, but like he just turned 14, but he's 13 years old and he's stronger than I would say half of my clients that I train.
I think that's some of the
What
best.
does he bench?
I mean, he's like 185 for a couple reps.
For a 14-year-old?
Yeah. And that's what's crazy, right? He's like, and that's what I try to tell people is just like, he works, he's actually active and trying that. When you were 13, you could probably, if you were around that and like doing that type of stuff, you were probably that strong. But the lack of, actually tapping into your normal strength, which is crazy that we don't really even teach this type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like in other cultures, they do, right? They like teach you like you need to be active. That's why you see like some people like walking the streets and you're just like, what are they doing? You know what I mean? But they're actually like, being healthy, getting some circulation. In our school systems and stuff, they don't teach us about food. They don't teach us what a carbohydrate is. They don't teach us what a fat is. They don't teach us what a protein is. They don't teach us that if you don't move around, and burn the storages you have, like you're just going to accumulate more storages and in turn get fatter. You know what I mean? Which I really think that we need to try to figure out how to get that in there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a big piece. Is one of the best things you can do for your kids is getting your kids to lift from a young age, because teaching him all the way till the time he leaves the house, that is something that you've given him for the rest of his life. And you lift that young, that's like ingrained now into his nervous system.
And then whenever he goes into the gym by himself, he feels comfortable, right? And he can do it himself. So and that's what I love about training my clients too, is I'm not just like embedding my theories and my knowledge into them. I'm embedding into the kids, and hopefully like the whole structure of their household starts to change of how they eat. Whole foods diet is like, to me is king.
Yeah. So that's the only way to combat, like you said, in schools, they don't teach you anything about being healthy. The food system sucks. Education system sucks. And the only way to combat it and have raise good kids that are healthy is you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
You got to teach them how to push themselves.
Yeah. And then like, let's say if you don't have the knowledge, and go and get the knowledge, that's why like training, like, dude, it's so invaluable. You know what I mean? Like, it's so important to invest in yourself, because we don't get taught this stuff. You know what I mean? So like, there's so much that, dude, you know how much like my clients that are with me for a year or so, like they've learned just from being with me for an hour every day, or an hour 3 times a day, or 3 hours a week or whatever. Like, dude, you just random questions that you don't even know.
Yeah.
You're literally learning. You're picking up on so much good stuff that you can take back with you. It's dude, everybody should invest in it. I have.
Yeah.
That's not like, I'm not saying like you should go invest in me. You find somebody that fits you and run with it.
I think there's a huge value in just working with one person who has a lot of experience to take in that information, instead of constantly going on YouTube and looking at clips or Instagram of different trainers with all kinds of different techniques. You're doing too many directions, and they may work, but to actually be around you and experience it, they're going to ingrain all your wisdom into them.
Well, then they can find a better understanding of like what's really going on with you, right? And then like you said, like not get because it's funny all the time. Is like I can combat anything that like I can say carbs are good and bad. Like I have a battle for both.
Yep.
Just depending on which way I want to steer with that is like how I can go. I can manipulate any theory to fit. You know what I mean? So like and most of the time you're right. They all work. So yeah, I mean, you need to find somebody that you stick with, that you mesh with, and like actually learn from them, and take it serious, and apply it, and actually tell the truth sometimes, so they can actually get the full understanding of you. I would say that's one of the hardest things with my clients, not my clients in particular, but clients in general, is like sometimes they don't tell you the whole truth when you're dieting them.
Do you have a couple stories of one or two clients, maybe one male, one female, that came to you that you can share? Like they went through a journey with you and what their results were like?
So, I mean, yeah, I have a lot, to be honest with you. I would say the main one would be Patrick right now, the guys. Dude, that dude put on, like, I don't know if y'all know Patrick Davis. Have y'all seen him around at all? So he's one of my big bodybuilding clients.
Okay.
I actually met him at Gold's Gym in Bee Cave in 2019. He was he was probably like he did a show previously the year before, 2018, the Branch Warren, and he did classic men's classic physique. I think he weighed in like 180 or something, 190. I don't remember what it was.
How tall is he?
He's like 6 foot. So,
okay,
like,
so
he was pretty lean.
Yeah.
And he was pretty big. So at that, you know, he's really, really lean. And so, anyways, when he came to me, he was like 220. All right, so we got on stage. We did men's physique first. Let's just fast forward a couple of years. He's about 300 pounds right now.
Holy shit.
Walking around with abs.
Jeez, bro.
Yeah, man. He's a freak. So I've worked with him. I've literally, like, I would say he has like a lot of influence from me. I taught him a lot. He's also like educated too. So he's a coach. He does really well for himself. He definitely modeled, some of his techniques for me, which is really cool to see, it working in other ways for other people. But dude, he probably put on about 80 pounds of muscle in about 5 years. But let's say that again, though, 5 years, right? It didn't take, it wasn't overnight,
But that is a short period of time.
5 years for 80 pounds.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's not that many human beings that can actually do that. Let's just put it there.
No, there's guys that have been training for 10 years that put on 10.
Dude, and like, let's just be honest about enhanced and non-enhanced. He is enhanced, but at the same time, dude, he's like, it's not as much as you would think. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's really like, I coach people. I've seen people with more than he's taken and not get nowhere near the results. You know what I mean?
I think that's a big misconception is people think if you take gear, you magically just
grow. Dude, they think that it's like the
it's just a magic
Captain America
pill.
symptom or serum, right? And
Yeah.
you think it's gonna touch you and you just that's the craziest shit to me. You know what I mean?
Do you train people differently who are natty or just on test or on full gear?
So the thing is, right? So like, all right, let's just be real. Like it does help, right? With recovery, with a little bit of like how much I can push you.
Right.
But I don't train you different. Why would I? We're just getting a little bit of help, if anything. It's just allowing me to push you more. It's allowing me to depend, maybe we might have to take a little bit more rest or I'm getting beat up. But I mean, the body's going to adapt, right? So like at the same time, it's like, you're still gonna, like, what you need to do to grow on gear is what you need to do when you grow when you're not on gear.
Right.
The only thing that gear really does, let's just take it as a chemical side of it, right? Like, so what it does, it allows me to work out harder. So the aggression, right, in the gym. And then also helps my recovery. How does it help my recovery? But it allows me to accept more amino acids. My protein synthesis goes up, and then also my aggression and a little bit of like red blood cell count. So it just basically makes me breathe more whenever my muscles breathe a little bit more whenever I'm working out. So it enhances that stuff. It literally doesn't really do as much as people think. You know what I mean? And you still have to put in all the work. You'd be surprised whenever if you're missing one of the three, you're messed up. You have to have drugs, nutrition, and your diet, you're working out like lined up. If most of the time when you're competing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys on a ton of shit, and you would never know.
Dude, like, no offense, but I've had people that look like they're an average Joe, and then they tell me what they're on, and I'm like, "You're on what?" I swear.
You're taking how much Trent?
And how long? Like
crazy.
Yeah, dude. No, I'll tell you this scenario. This dude, literally, he was like asking me how come he can't grow. He was like, dude, I'm taking about 600 EQ. I'm on like 800 test. I'm taking about 500 Mastron a week. Popping Anadrol, like 50 mgs of Anadrol every day. Like, I don't understand. And dude was probably like 30% body fat.
Damn.
He's
And
just
for
not
one, I
working
was
out.
like, you might not see it for one, even if you did know it was something was going on. And for two, he didn't diet. He didn't work out hard. You know what I mean? I trained him one time because because I was working for LA Fitness at the time. Excuse me. And he got a session and then like, I was like, well, that's your answer right there. It just goes back to what we were talking about earlier is if you're not pushing yourself in the gym, like you're not going to get anything out of anything. You know what I mean? Like there has to be that training, that threshold that you can push past to actually get the results that you want.
And you're so right with having like the trifecta of everything. Cause I grew up doing sports and I've always pushed myself and I've always pushed my body and I knew how to do it, but I never had nutrition dialed in. So I would try so hard to put on weight. I just couldn't because I never tracked my calories for years. And I would push so hard. I'd be so sore. And I just wouldn't get bigger because I didn't eat a caloric surplus until finally I put on 30 pounds in the last like 2 years.
I love the fact that you brought that up is because that's my favorite question or that's my favorite thing that people tell me and that it blows my mind is like, I can't gain any weight.
Well, how much are you eating?
How much are you eating? Oh, I eat a lot. Yeah. For one, like you don't. For two, like, you know what I mean? Like, let's really be real. Like you're not, you know, your diet's not what it should be to grow. Everybody can grow. You're not the anomaly. You know what I mean? Like, it might be harder
when you're in it.
It might be harder, but there's also different types of diets, right? So like if I'm a fast metabolism, then I need to add more fats in my diet. So like you're not you haven't really approached it right.
Right.
And like, have you hired a coach? Have you talked to a nutrition guy? No. So that you haven't tried. It's my favorite thing is like people really are so serious about this too. They're like
no,
I can't grow. There's no way. I'm a mesomorph or not mesomorph, ectomorph.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just can't grow. You're lucky you're mesomorph. I'm like, all right, whatever, bro.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for this guy because he's the one who pushed me to just eat more. Because I said the same shit. I was like, I'm an ectomorph. It's hard for me to put on weight, blah, blah, blah. He's like, just fucking eat a bowl of cereal, put a pint of ice cream in it, and then use protein powder as milk. And I'm like, okay. And then they just ate a scoop of peanut butter and eat like 2 ribeyes a day and just fucking get big.
And you will grow.
And it worked.
Promise.
And it worked.
I promise.
I put on 30 pounds in like a year and a half just from eating.
He found a little hack at local pastures, that little spot that just opened up right by this studio here in North Austin. It's like a little farmer's market spot, and they have crazy fucking good Greek yogurt, which is super high calorie, but they have these jugs of
liquid yogurt.
Dude, those are actually, I like those a lot.
And it's got
so
berries
I've been
in
doing
it.
those here recently, but just because like, you know, gut health is everything, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I love the benefits from the Greek yogurt, you know what I mean?
Yeah, one of these things is probably like
horrible.
1,000 calories. And it's good for your gut. So
Yeah, and it has
just
a bunch of protein in it.
bunch of
so it's
protein,
super
good fats.
Yeah, instead of like a Dairy Queen.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
I'm curious, like, what is your training philosophy? Like, do you have different styles of training?
I do have different styles. My main thing is, dude, I'm like, my main one is like the old Dorian Yates.
Yeah?
I'm old school, dude. I love the 2 warm-up sets to set to failure. That's literally, I feel like that's what's really unlocked my training. Like whenever I started doing that, I really started growing. Me personally, I don't know how it worked for. Well, I'm pretty sure it worked for everybody because it's science, right? But I really like to get warmed up to the movement and then have one set where I'm just like going all out.
Just one, so 2 warm-ups and then just 1 set.
So sometimes, like let's say if I'm bench pressing, though, it might be more than two warm-up sets.
Just
But
whatever gets you ready for it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's the one all out set to failure.
Yeah.
So basically, like, let's say if I'm doing bench press, that's because that's the only one I would say, like bench press, squat, some of the main compound movements. If I'm really trying to go up, like I would try to like hit a PR for that, like since I've been like trying to, let's say like if it's let's say incline press, let's just say that if I'm doing 315, you know what I mean? I'm gonna try to get, let's say like if I are you going off of feel, right? So if I get 8 or if I know I can get 10, then I'm just going to cut it short, probably like at 6. And then I'm like, all right, well, I need to go up because that I could have done more than 10 and it would have been easy. So I go up to like, you know, whatever it might be. And then I try to go to failure where it's under 10. And then, I basically will go from there. I also like the high rep sometimes too, which is like a 30, 25, 20, 15 breakdown.
Do you remember, was it dog crap method?
Which one? No, I don't think I've
He like a long time ago, he popularized the rest pause method, but one of his techniques was Widowmakers, which was you work up to like on a leg press, not something that taxes the low back.
Yeah.
You work up to like a heavy set of 6, but then you rest, take a back off, and you do an all out heavy, like something you could do at 8 to 12, 25 rep, just all hell destroy. Nothing grew my legs more than doing that.
So so that's very similar to like our other style of training. So I would say like the all out set is also like a drop set or a split set or a pause set. Sorry, like and that's I feel like that's the best way to go. And I also like pyramid schemes.
Yeah.
So like going up and then going back down, just because that's people like talk about muscle confusion. So it might not be muscle confusion, but I feel like, you know, the weight always feels the heaviest, right? And you're breaking down so much more fibers when you do that. I feel like, just because the weight, we're creating more fibers. We're not trying to confuse the muscle. We're not trying to, you know, bro science it or whatever. That's the terminology for that. But so as long as you can deplete the most fibers as possible, that's the technique to grow. And that's what my philosophy is basically to destroy the muscle. You know what I mean?
Do you like splits more than like, you know, like just 1 or 2 body parts and let them recover a certain amount of time, 5 to 7 days?
I definitely do.
Versus like a full body or like upper body, lower body?
For me personally, yeah. But whenever I do my training, like for clients, then I do the most efficient and, you know, method as possible. So like if you're seeing me twice a week, I'm going to do an upper and lower body day. If I'm 3 times a week, push pull legs, and depending on if you're a girl or not, or what your I guess your goals are. But me personally, I like the bro splits. I actually just changed my split and I love it. I do shoulders Monday and I do quads Tuesday and I do chest or back on Wednesday, chest on Thursday, and then hamstrings on Friday. And if I want to, I'll do arms on Saturday. So that way it's like I'm making sure I'm doing my legs during the week, like whenever I'm primed up and ready for them. That's probably the main reason, because I skip out on them on Saturdays. So just because it's easy and like you don't really want to work out and, you know, on a Saturday sometimes, you know. So that's why, like, if I hit arms, like that's cool. If not, then I hit arms with my back and with my chest day. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, just as long as it gets in.
Yeah.
What do you do for lagging body parts? Say a guy's pretty well built, but maybe like his arm.
So that's actually a cool question. So there's a lot of like theories with that. There's like a lot of people like, so like for instance, if I'm like, you know, my there's a lot of like, I would say like, what's it called? I'm trying to think of the real terminology for it, but basically you can do like leaders. I don't even know. I'm not even going to use the terminology. Basically do like let's say my triceps are lagging. I'm going to do, before every workout, I can go in there and do 1 set, you know, let's say 2 sets of triceps, so 1 exercise for tricep extensions, and then do my workout.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
So like even if it's leg day, you just go do a tricep.
Every day.
Okay.
It's I can't, like I said, like there's a word.
I've never heard of that.
It,
That's
but,
cool.
But yeah, that's actually a cool way to do it. Like shoulders, like I need to grow my shoulders, right? So like I'll do a lateral raise before I start any of my workouts. That way, like I'm still pushing blood in there. I'm still activating, cool. Still getting some circulation, some blood flow in there. And also basically it's kind of taxing them enough where they're having to get better. You know what I mean?
So they could do a split like you were doing, split up the body parts, but every time, like
every time,
biceps is every time.
Are you going to failure on the, or you're just doing like one?
I would say not to failure maybe, but like pretty close. I mean, you can't really do too much, right? Do like 1 exercise, 3 sets.
Okay.
Yeah, or 2 sets, whatever. Just get a pump in it and then just, you know, walk away. Nice. A lot of people do that with legs, right? So like calves, like you'll do a little bit every day before they start their workouts, or like, you know, a little bit of quads or something like that, or mostly hamstrings, to be honest with you, because a lot of people have, you know, lagging hamstrings. So you do like a leg curl in there and then you'll start your workout. I actually like that a lot.
I love that. I think I'm going to start doing that.
It works.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it's just because like the theory of it is like just to push the blood in there and get some activation. And so, because if there's no reason for protein to go in there, then it's never going to like, you know, actually like
you're just
go
getting
through the process.
You're getting more sets every week.
For sure.
Like it would make sense for it not to grow.
And I imagine some of lagging body part, and you can tell me, is all of us have really good connection to certain muscles. Like, you know, maybe it's your legs or back. You can just push it and connect with it so much more. And the lagging ones, sometimes you just can't feel it. And I imagine training it more.
So that's actually when
more.
you get older too, the trauma, right? So our trauma is like, so like, let's say like slight injuries that we don't even really know about, like maybe a tweak on a bench press, like that'll shut down your shoulder, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like then your shoulders are lagging and you don't even know it. You're just pushing like, you know, throughout the day, and you're not also going to feel it because it might be shut down. So your chest is using more than your shoulder. You know, you could have a rotator, you know, issue or whatever. And so then you don't know what's going on. You know, it could be rotators. A lot of times you feel it in your back. You don't even feel it in your, you know, chest or area, stuff like that. So
for female clients listening, how do you approach, you know, women trying to put on muscle, get lean, just look good in general? Do you have a different style of training?
I actually train more women. I'm actually more of a bikini competitor coach.
Oh, cool.
Bikini wellness. I train guys, but I train like, I mean, to be honest with you, I actually prefer training women. They listen.
I said that same thing. I had 2 clients come to me brand new, and they're like, why do you mostly train women? And I'm like, because guys don't listen.
Dude, they have an ego thing.
Yeah, and there's this weird, weird energy. Yeah. The only guys I like training are the guys that are kind of autistic.
Dude, 100%.
See, I get it.
And like, dude, Patrick's not autistic, but he is like
a little on the spectrum.
Well, he's like straight up, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, I would say like he's definitely, he's a genius, but he's like almost like he is, you know. What if he does whatever's on paper? You know what I mean? It's like a machine. That's kind of how I was, you know, whenever I competed. But yeah, like that's why it works with him,
exactly,
because he does, you know, everything. The girls, they'll tell me when they cheat. They don't. They don't care. You know what I mean? There's no ego. There's no like. Yeah, they don't have to prove anything to me, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's a weird, like, it's a weird dynamic with guys.
Yeah.
Especially because I guess, like, I am a bigger, like, more intimidating guy, I guess, you know, or at least that's what people tell me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's just a whole weird little barrier that I don't like. You know, I just don't like it.
No,
so
I'm on the same page. What do you have do you have a story of a female client that you could share?
So, I mean, I have a lot, to be honest with you.
Because I imagine the females listening, you know, they'd love to hear some.
So, dude, like, my favorite thing, let's just go over like the general thing of what I do with women. Let's say like, I take a normal, I mean, that sounds bad, but I take a normal girl and making a superstar. That is what I love to do. That's what my transformations mostly are. If you go to my page, Raise the Bar, Team Raise the Bar on IG, you can see, like I said, like mostly are women. I have 2 girls that have had kids. You know, I have my first real competitor. She had 3 kids, or she might even have 4. Let me check my stats on that. But yeah, so basically you take some girl that doesn't believe in themselves, that looks like a normal girl, and make them a bikini model, basically. And that is a process. It is, but at the same time, it's so doable for any girl that you can look however you want. That's why I love bodybuilding. I feel like bodybuilding has really transformed my training, because I can take the idea of training, bodybuilding, right, and like apply it to training. So like, I want to look like this. Okay, well, what we have to do to look like this. It's very similar to bodybuilding. If you want to transform, or you want to, you know, change the way you look, you're a bodybuilder in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not a pro bodybuilder, but you're not building your body.
Stage, but you're sculpting the body. You're a body sculptor, right? Yeah. So that's literally what we do. We recomp, you know what I mean? You go through the weight loss, you see where you need to build up, and then you build up from there. So hopefully sometimes a little bit doing both of that at the same time, the recomping, you know, process. But yeah, I mean, it's literally what we were talking about earlier, is in trying to engrave, the first things first is engraving the nutrition, and, you know, get them to do nutrition, get them to believe in themselves, get them to do the cardio, get them to do the training. That most of these girls have never done any of that. You know, they're always scared. They get this idea in their head that they're going to touch a weight and become like Johnny Bravo or something. You know what I mean?
Like, listen, dude, I've been trying to get huge for a long time.
That's what. Dude, so no, that's
you're not
the funniest
just
thing that
get
you
huge.
say that is because people tell me, he's like, oh, I don't want to get big. I'm like, dude, I've taken drugs. I've literally.
Do you know how hard it is?
You know
to
how
get
hard
big?
I've tried to get big.
Yeah.
You know,
listen, if you work out for a year and you get huge, I want your blood,
dude. Yeah,
I'll take it from you.
It's so crazy, especially the girls, right? Like, I don't want to get big and bulky. I'm like, I don't want to look like you. Like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. Like, unless you're taking hormones, for one, a girl is never going to get like big and bulky. Okay, well, you like, don't take this the bad way, but if you're big and bulky, you might be fat.
Yeah.
And you're pushing your muscle, like you're pushing that fat out. You know what I mean? Let's just be real. You know what I mean? A lot of people are carrying a lot more body fat than they think. I have people that don't look like they can lose any weight at all, and they lose 50 pounds for show. But that is for show. So we're going into extremes and getting really, lean. But like that just shows you, though, somebody that doesn't even look like that big or whatever, that they have that much fat to lose, they do lose that much fat. Like I trip out every time whenever I prep. I lose about 40, 30 pounds every time. And I'm like, where did that come from? You know what I mean? It really, like right now, if I'm was to do a show, I'll probably be like 205. So that's 35 pounds of fat that I'm holding on right now that, to average person, I'm walking around, they would call me lean. If I called myself fat, they would be like, yeah, they'll laugh at me and like call me crazy. But one standard is to another, right? So, but yeah, so like that's the thing is like really the girls, like I would say like just getting them to lift, actually doing some muscular movements and, functional training that shapes their body so much. They're always so impressed, right? They never think they can look like that. But like you say, like they never even really try. And then like our hormones these days are shit because of just the food that we eat, the food that's available, I would say, not even the food that we eat. They make it really easy, really the soy, the high fat diet, the artificial sweeteners, the high fructose, the bad, like there's so many stuff that has bad influence on our hormones. So like that's also in turn like why we see so many like overweight people, sloppy. You got people with, excuse my language, but you got with titties, guys with titties that never done drugs in their life. So, that's just a sign that, that they're not really helping us with the food out there. So, like just getting all that in line, working out actually helps regulate hormones. I wish people would know that, exerting your body helps increase testosterone and lowers a little bit of estrogen depending on what we're doing, and then eating right. So eliminating all those foods, those high fatty diets, that's gonna, convert or contribute to all that, But yeah, but like what we were saying, the girls, the main thing with the girls is just to get them to actually lift and believe in themselves, and then being consistent, and then they transform, and it's amazing. Dude, like I say, like if you go look at some of those pictures of those girls and. Like they literally look like superstars, and they look like normal girls walking around at first, which everybody else would be like, I like that too. But, I guess what cup of tea, but.
What do you think it's the mindset for someone walking in, like for a female, how long would that take from just, wherever they are to maybe not all the way to contest ready, but just completely, wow, I'm just so impressed.
So I've seen it within 6 months. I've seen it within a year. I've seen it within 2 years. And I would say it really has to do with where you're at, but it doesn't take as long as you think. Dude, if you just went all in 6 months, you change your life. I guarantee it. Like, fire me if you didn't.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, if you do it and you do it the right way, like anybody can do it. And that's why it's so crazy when people don't think they can. It's like you're not, like we were saying earlier, you're not an anomaly. You're not different from everybody else. Maybe we might have to manipulate it a little bit to fit you, and so you can actually do it. But you can lose weight. You can change. You can. What's the best diet? The diet you can follow, right? For the longest period of time. That's what people always have, these diet fads like keto, high fat, high carb, whatever, carnivore, all this other stuff. The main thing of it is like, how long can you follow it? Most of the time the people are like, oh, this diet is great because you like it, right? That's why it's great. That's why you lost so much weight, because you can actually follow it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What is something else that you wish people would know?
Oh man, I guess like how important circulation is. for health, right? For cardiovascular, like, and that could be working out just with weights, or it could be with cardio. You know what I mean? Like, actually walking, and because that's longevity, right? Like, how do we stay like here on this planet is cellular regeneration, right? So if we don't make our body move around, we don't circulate our blood, we're not going to be here that long. You know what I mean? You see people that can barely walk at 40. Why? Because they, let's just be real, they usually smoke and sit on the couch all day watching TV, and then they wonder why they have so much health problems and they're diabetic, and, it's like, can't even walk up the stairs without, being out of breath. And I love my family to death, but my family is right there with them. You know what I mean? I'm probably one of the healthiest people in my family, and I'm not even like, big. I'm a health guy because I'm a trainer, right? And I care about this stuff, but I wouldn't say I'm like a health nut. You know what I mean? But yeah, I come from a background with, like, we didn't care. They don't care. We, butter and biscuits and gravy and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? So I grew up seeing it. So I guess that's why I'm so passionate about, like, helping other families change, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's what the main thing, if I was to tell people, is like, really get, focus on like circulation and being like active. I guess the biggest thing,
just move as much as you can.
Movement is medicine.
Yeah, and find anything that allows you to move that you like. Like you
For
said,
sure.
it's
It
like
could be
there's
basketball.
40-year-olds that don't know how, like, can barely walk. My mom is 71 years old. She's still a competitive ballroom dancer.
So that's
like
what's
dancing.
So crazy.
She loves
you
to
see
do.
the like, this feels bad saying, but did you see the old people that are trucking? They're moving, like,
Yeah.
they're still, like, they're very active.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And it's so crazy. It's like, she just broke her hip at 70. How are you still moving around? Because that's what she does.
Yeah, and you
And
have
her
to start
body-
early too.
Yeah.
You can't just. I mean, better late than never,
Oh, for
right?
sure,
But it's like the
yeah.
sooner you begin,
100%.
the sooner your body learns that stuff, and it just won't deteriorate as
Yeah,
fast.
no, and that's the big thing too, is like, well, y'all probably know this, is like, they teach you in training, is like, when you're a juvenile, like, you're actually like setting your body up for like later, right? Like, the more active you are as a adolescent, the easier and more athletic you are as a grown up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, someone said something a while ago that I love. They were like, if you want to run a mile when you're 70, you better be able to run 30 when you're 30, right?
I
Like,
mean,
you gotta be, yeah.
That's,
to
well,
a
just,
degree.
yeah, because like me right now, like, I mean, I can run a little bit, but like, I can't run that much. You know what I mean? It's like, I used to
Maybe
be able
for
to
you
play
it's
football.
lifting and not running.
Well, yeah, you're right though. But what I'm just saying is, like, it's hard to do anything that you're not used to doing.
Totally.
Because, like, I used to be a stair climbing fool, right? When I was doing the competitive stuff, but now I jump on the stairs like I did like a couple weeks ago. 20 minutes, man. I almost died. I was like, how did I do this for 2 hours? There's zero chance I
Damn,
could.
2 hours stairs.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were crazy. So I actually tore my pec, so that's why I stopped competing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. I did it at Lift too.
What happened?
Yeah, so I was just did a show in 2021. I was going through a bad breakup. All right. So I really wasn't taking care of myself. I did like a long trip. Like, I went to Houston, picked up my dad, took him to Dallas, went back to Austin, and like, woke up the next day, went straight to the gym, and was like, all right, we're gonna like lift really heavy today. So I was like, jumped up 50, 60 pounds because I was just moving up in my weight because I just did a show, and it was super easy. 3 reps in, and it boom,
Wow.
tore both heads right off the bone. Like, it's pretty
Whoa.
gnarly. You can you can kind of see
Wow.
like the whole, like, yeah, it's there. I had to wait a little bit because of all the COVID crap that was going on. So they end up like having to cut all the scar tissue off. So that's why it's like that, even though it's basically attached. I have a bracket and 3 screws in me. Yeah, I never thought that would happen to me, but here we
Do
go.
you think it was just because you were like fatigued?
Dehydrated, I think that's what it really came down to, and fatigue. Yeah, like my body wasn't like ready for that, and also I had a micro tear in it, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I've been lifting for a long time, so I've definitely accumulated a little bit of like tissue damage right there. Right before I started the prep too, I was doing like an incline on the Smith, and like I felt a tweak. And I didn't think of nothing of it. I did the whole prep. So it was like almost a year later, right? That was the beginning year, like February. And then like I tore it in December. So, I mean, yeah, I had no idea. You know, a lot of things now I look back and like, oh, could have done this different, could have done that different, could have, you know, but hey, it is what it is. But it did teach me a lot. It definitely gave me a lot more respect for the weights. You know what I mean? I don't think I respected the weight that much. You know, like
just like, fuck you, I'm gonna lift you.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've hurt my back before, but like, you know, that's obvious, right? You picked up something wrong, you know what I mean? But like your bench press,
like full tear.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to get humbled. Fuck.
Dude, yeah. And like I was out of the gym for like what, 8 months, 6 months after the surgery. Shit. 2 months before the surgery. So
what did that feel like? It was just like,
dude, it was weird for me because like, you know, like literally that was and especially like still going through the breakup, right? So like I needed like the out, you know. Then
it's the one thing you need when you're in a breakup is the gym.
Yeah. And then like, and plus like going through a lot of crap, you know, at that time, like, yeah, it was not fun. I feel like I needed that too, though. It definitely, you know, it definitely made me appreciate the weights, made me appreciate my time off. Whenever I got back in the gym, though, it was wild. Like, the amount of muscle that I grew, like put on, because I ain't gonna lie, I jumped off everything. I got off of like, cause normally I like, just to be 100% honest, like I'm on TRT, and then like every once in a while when I can, like I'll be on a little bit of growth. So like back then, like I was like, I don't want to take anything. I want everything to shrink down, you know. So basically, whenever I do grow, like it all grow back together at the same time and same pace or whatever. So I kind of just like I said, like I want to say I was like almost 200 pounds, and I didn't look like, I was probably like a little bit like fatter than this, like I am now, you know what I mean? And I was 205, 203. So it was weird. But I put on like, it was like 20 to 30 pounds of muscle, probably even more than that, because of like, I look different, you know, I'm a little bit leaner. And yeah, it was very fast. The muscle memory and like my body just like really took it on super, super good. And I guess too, it was like I was ready to train, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, you're hungry for it. Yeah.
Super hungry.
Yeah. Which is pretty nice, right?
Yeah.
You've been lifting as long.
It was my favorite period.
Yeah. Well, how do people work with you? Do you usually do one-on-ones, or you do like small groups? Do you do?
So I do a lot of in-person training. In person and online is my mainly. I would say online coaching is what it is basically. It's like that's what the transformation stuff is, though. That's where I do your diet, weekly check-ins. I do your workout program when you're not with me, if you're working, you know, independently with me or whatever. But yeah, like my main thing, I'm an old school trainer. I literally put in the hours, you know. I'm trying to get a little bit more into like online, so I, you know, basically can help more people. But yeah, I love the interaction with the one-on-ones. So, I mean, I'm like I said, like I've been doing it for a while, so I don't see me straying away from that. As long as you tell me to meet you, I'm gonna meet you.
That's rad. We should come get a session with you. I'd love to take it through.
I'll definitely hook it up too. You know what I mean? So,
oh, you know how to do that? Yeah, but yeah, we'd love to come.
We'd love to train with you, dude.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. It gives definitely like a different spectrum of training. You know?
I love training with guys with tons of experience. It's super fun. It freshens things up too, because you know, if you've been training for a little while, we all get kind of like stuck in certain modalities a little bit for a while.
Oh, definitely.
It just like spices it up again.
Oh, definitely. That's the big thing, is like what we was talking about earlier, is like, you know, learning from other people is key, because sometimes you can't read, you know, every technique, you know what I mean, through the book. Like I would say I hate bro science, but I love bro science too, because it really does like put like both spectrums of that. You know, you have to be able to bend the rules a little bit to grow and to be the people like, I mean, I'm not nothing special, but I am bigger than the average person, you know, to be this way. Like, I didn't just stick a bunch of drugs in me and then like looking, you know, exactly. I just said like, I haven't done drugs since I competed, you know what I mean? I mean, test apparently it technically is a drug, but, you know what I mean? This is me walking around, you know what I mean? And, you know, I put it on the right way, you know, so it ain't going nowhere.
Which is also a testament to people think if you stop taking, you need to take a ton of gear all the time to maintain. You're a perfect example of you've been training for so long.
So I messed up myself. Let's just be that way. Like, so there is repercussions, right, to taking the gear and stuff like that. So I do have to replace my testosterone, you know, so I have to be on TRT for life, which I'm okay with that. And that's really the main reason why I actually dabbled in that. I would rather be 40 or 50, 60 years old and be able to manage my own testosterone. There is going to be a drop off eventually anyways. So this way I can regulate that. I don't have to be at like a peak performance level or like a teenager level, but I can make sure that I'm in the 600 to 800 range or whatever that, you know, healthy range is for my age at that time. But yeah, so like that is a big thing I want people to understand too, is like if you do dabble, like just know there are repercussions of taking this stuff. You can't just, it's not as you know, skid free. You're not gonna just can take it and then, I mean, some people are very fortunate and they can recover a little bit better than others, but when you're putting a hormone in your body, you know, your body thinks that it has it, it's not going to produce as much as it normally should. I mean, yeah, there is like other hormones and drugs that, prescription drugs that you should take, you know, and take care of your body when you're, you know, on the stuff or, you know, coming off. That will help, but at the same time, you just know that regardless, there are repercussions. Yeah.
Totally, man. How do people connect with you if they want to work with you, follow you?
So my main thing is Instagram, right? So like, I guess like these days and age.
Yeah. It's the new yellow pages.
Dude, it is. And that's what I love. I actually like it a lot because I don't hardly get on Facebook at all, but that's how I work. Instagram is usually, it's like basically my advertisement. I have all my work that I display on there. I have a little bit of my stuff on there, but it's really mainly for work. It's how I get a hold of people, how people get a hold of me. I love it. Like I say, like it definitely is like a portfolio of what I can do. It doesn't have everything I do. Like I'm very bad at marketing. I need to get better at it, but I'm like old school. I also like my work speaks for itself, right? So like most of what like I'm just laid out in front of you. You can pick it up and take it, or you can leave it. You know, this is what I can do for you, or yeah, go on your way. I don't mean to sound like arrogant or rude that way, but you know.
Yeah, but you're not begging for business. It's like,
no, and I know I can help
yeah,
you. You know what I mean? It's just like you've been training for a while. It's better to get those.
I don't need to sell anybody. You don't need to sell anybody.
Yeah, your job isn't to convince them. It's just to show them what you can do.
Well, and that's what like I feel like a lot of that marketing is, right? It's like, look at me, this is what I am, and like this is what I can do. And it's like, no, look, my clients, they kick ass because they're kick ass.
Yeah.
You know, they all work their ass off. I was fortunate enough to show them and be the one that helped them. Yeah. They can, like what we said earlier, there's plenty of people that can do it. There's plenty of ways to do it. I'm glad I get to help them do it. And like I said,
it's so much easier to turn a 7 to a 10 than a 0 into a 7.
Yeah.
Right. It's like start with someone who's already got the baseline of motivation and then you push them from there.
Yeah. And everybody comes to a trainer for a reason, right? So it's not hard what we do selling. You know, it's like you're coming to me because you want training most of the time.
Yes, and you're training out at Los Campeones.
So I'm at Los Campeones North right now.
Yeah. Awesome gym.
Yeah, I love it. It's over there it's right there by the Pluckers, all right, for 183 and 35. Sorry, I just got there.
Yeah, you're good.
Brand new.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check me out. You can contact them and they'll hook you up with me, or you can hook me up with me directly through my Instagram. Shoot me a DM on my Raise the Bar page or my personal Dred Barr 7. So it's first name, last name 7. And that was because of my football number.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, it's still the same Instagram since I was in high school.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, I kind of like, you know, took off some of the older stuff, you know, when I was young and dumb. But it's actually, though, it's kind of cool, though. You can go back and see my journey where I started off. You know, I would say I'm blessed enough to be already kind of bigger when I started, but at the same time, it's like I was nowhere near what I am now, you know? So it's cool to see that I apply the stuff that I teach to myself.
Yeah.
So, and everything that I've learned all 100% doing it, you know, like, I guess, like testing the waters on my own. Like, you know, I even prepped myself for a year. So
but that's intense trying to guide yourself through that process.
It was pretty cool. And to be honest with you, that was my favorite one. So
Really?
yeah.
Well, Dred, man, we really appreciate you being here and sharing all your knowledge. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
man.
Yeah, dude. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me.
Later, guys.
One guy's out.